George Russell won his first ever race in Formula 1. Max Verstappen basically told Sergio Perez to and the Ferrari crew were actually good on a race day. But did you know that Alfa Romeo got fined £1,000 and Alpine had to tell their drivers how to behave? Well, hello and welcome to Fervent Motorsports. Today we'll take you through some midfield incidents you might have missed at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Alfa Romeo had a good weekend. Entering the race, they were under immense pressure from Aston Martin in the Constructors' Championship. There were just 4 points separating both of these teams. At the Brazilian Grand Prix, Valtteri Bottas finished 9th, Lance Stroll finished 10th, Sebastian Vettel finished 11th and Zhou Guanyu finished 12th. It was a tight battle that saw Alfa Romeo edge out on points. The good result establishes their lead over Aston Martin and the gap is now at 5 points. They are not leading by a massive margin, but for Alfa Romeo, it's really great considering that the last time they managed to score more than 1 point in a race was back in June in Canada. Alfa Romeo were also fined £1,000 for this. The FIA stated that a member of the Alfa Romeo team who is not involved in the pit stops entered the pit lane working area and was in a position where he was unreasonably close to the path of the approaching Haas car which was starting the pit stop. The stewards determined that this was an unsafe situation. Thankfully, no one was hurt in the incident because things can go wrong in the pit lane in a flash. Take for example 2019, Kimi Raikkonen went over a Ferrari mechanic's leg because he was given the signal to leave the pits when only 3 of his tyres had been changed. Going into the weekend, the Alpine team had a 7-point lead over the McLaren cars. The Alpine cars started the sprint race on Saturday in 6th and 7th, but Alonso and Ocon had 2 collisions in the very first lap. This was the first one, and a few seconds later this happened. Both of the cars were damaged and they finished the sprint race in 17th and 18th. They were fighting McLaren in the championship and it looked like McLaren would overtake them by the end of the weekend. During the main race, it looked like they were in a good position to score points. But then it looked like another collision was waiting to happen. There was a safety car restart, Alonso was behind Ocon, and this is what happened over the radio.
Let me race at the moment. I will once the situation is settled a bit more. But we can lose everything now also at the restart.
Esteban, I don't want you fighting with Fernando. Is that understood?
I need to pass Vettel now, but I won't fight Fernando.
Ocon stuck to his word and he let Fernando through once he overtook Sebastian Vettel. He did not fight Fernando. Alonso finished the race in 5th ahead of both of the Red Bull cars. Ocon finished the race 8th behind both of the Red Bull cars. The good teamwork means that Alpine extends their lead to 19 points over the McLarens. The McLarens had a terrible weekend. This is because Ricciardo crashed into Magnussen and he was forced to retire. And Norris had a 5-second penalty for pushing Leclerc and then eventually Norris too retired. This is what the table looks like after the Brazilian Grand Prix. Williams is in dead last and it looks like that won't be changing. The teams in 9th and 8th can swap if AlphaTauri have a better weekend than Haas. The battle for 7th and 6th is still undecided because of Aston Martin and Alfa Romeo. And the McLaren-Alpine battle is going on with just 19 points in the battle for 4th. So thank you for watching this video by us here at Fervent Motorsports. Who do you think will come out on top in these battles? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, stay tuned as we get you the best of motorsport content.